Today's adventure takes place in Metropolis, Illinois, where we're going to encounter some pre-Revolutionary War history on the shores of the Ohio River. Hello my friends, Mr. Nomad Ben here. Thank you for once again joining me for part 2 of my super adventure going through Metropolis, Illinois into Nashville, Tennessee. A long awaited trip I've been waiting to do. We are doing a speed road trip under 24 hours for a whole day starting in Metropolis, Illinois. Part 2 of my adventure. Of the previous adventure, we went to downtown Metropolis where the whole town is devoted to Superman. But today, we're going to do a little bit of pre-Revolutionary War history that happened here at Fort Massac or Massac State Park in Metropolis, Illinois. So Metropolis has been around for quite some time, and the fort has been on the long side of the river of Spanish explorers made it here possibly in the 1540s that had built an ancient fort here, but it has not been established until the 1757, so pre-Revolutionary War era. I'll leave a link in the Wikipedia page I have discovered about this place below. I'm with my pal, the Dream Poet, as he's busy filming his portion of the vlog, and let's go ahead and check out these old forts before we head to Nashville, look at the Ohio River, and just enjoy ourselves. And here we go.
It's all about where you've been, Nomad Ben. Tell us all about the finer points of living and just traveling. Food, beer, history, nature quest. Every corner of us all to the great Midwest. Tell us all about where you've been, Nomad Ben.
So here's where we're starting out with these forts. As this little placard gives you a little bit of Revolutionary or after Revolutionary War history as well that happened here. The Illinois in the American Revolution. George Rogers Clark arrived at Fort Massac or Massac on June 30th, 1778, with about 175 men under the orders from Virginia to capture the British outposts in Illinois. British failure to garrison the old French fort here established Clark to enter the Illinois country without opposition. The British at Kasekia expected an attack from the Mississippi River by marching Overlord Clark, surprising them. He arrived at Kasekia on the night of July 4th through 5th and quickly secured the fort without resistance. Sorry, my dyslexia kind of kicked in a couple of times or added phrases, but yeah. But my friends, we are heading our ways to the forts. And as I can see kind of ahead, I don't really go and film people, but it looks like people are doing little reenactments over there. And people are just dressed up in their colonial gear, as you can see from the distance from Chet. This is really cool. And people would seem like they're very devoted to their traditions of reenacting a lot of the history here. There's a very interesting looking tree here. And a little bit of a placard here. Pause if you want to read or listen to Chet.
Preserve and the beauty of the state of Illinois through the establishment of Fort Massac State Park and the Illinois State Park System. So, the Illinois State Park System.
Make your way down this way.
Quite a good way.
The people are just sitting there reenacting their stuff of an old tavern that used to be here. And another placard here. 4 flags over Fort Massac or Massac. And there, look at this. Okay, so in the 1500s, Spanish ownership. 1702, French trading post and mission. The 1757, the French to block British expansion into the Mississippi named Fort Massac or Massac. 1764, French abandoned fort to the British. In the 1778, George Rogers Clark stopped here on the way to build his way to Kasekia. And then look at this. Even George Washington had some orders. 1794, George Washington ordered the fort to be rebuilt and re-garrisoned. And now, as updated of 1908, the site is designed the first Illinois State Park. Wow, that is really cool. So here we are, just kind of looking at the old Timey Tavern here and talking to one of the reenactors clubs here, and you were giving me information off camera, so can you tell me what you were telling me earlier? So what you guys do every other Saturday?
The Massac Marines.
Massac, okay.
And once a month, it's usually on the second weekend of each month, we come here and at Fort Massac present this stuff for people to see and what things were like in the 1750s.
The early types of gambling here, the old playing cards.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They didn't have the numbers on them or anything back then.
Yeah. But you were telling me on October, you guys do reenactments.
Yeah, October there's a big reenactment here. The whole place is covered with reenactors.
Wow. Gives us more reason to come and visit you guys more often. Wow. This is cool, man. Thank you so much for your information. And there's more people over there reenacting. There's the forts over there. But we're going to make our ways over to the forts in a second.
Civilian guns in the 1750 period in France and over here. This is my favorite. This is called the Buccaneer. This was the cheapest gun of the day. In New France, which was from New Orleans all the way through Canada, all the way up the Mississippi River. If you were a landowner and you had children 12 years or older, and you had slaves, male slaves, they had to be armed in case of Indian uprising.
Oh.
This was the Mossberg of the day. This was the cheapest thing you could buy. So they were very prevalent. They were made cheaply. They were shipped over here by the hundreds. But this is a gun that was typical of civilian use because the long barrel we finally figured out was because of the poor powder that they had. Black powder is not an explosive like modern powder. When it ignites, it burns the entire length of the barrel. But their powder was so bad that they had to put barrels on them this long to get any effective fire out of it. You know, these are just some of the accoutrements. Everybody had civilians would have a shooting bag to carry all their stuff in, a powder bag. This is the size of the ball it fires, 16 gauge.
Wow.
69 caliber. You can shoot. They're all smooth bores. Rifles did not come along yet. All these guns are smooth bores. So you can shoot shot, like a shotgun, you can shoot round ball, whatever, out of them to hunt with. And, they're all flintlock, no cap locks. That came along about 1840. This one is a big wrench action. The flintlock works by putting the main charge down the barrel and putting priming, and my peg is swelled up on me. Hey Emma, how you doing? But get it out here. But you would pour powder into that pan.
Oh, he's actually doing it.
Get a decent charge in there. Back to full cock. What happens? It's called a flintlock because of this piece of flint. This steel is hard, so when it hits, it's going to drop. Cut little shavings off here. They're red hot. And they're going to fall in that powder and touch this thing off, hopefully.
There you go. Dude.
That was so cool.
Well, thank you so much, man.
Oh, that was so worth it.
That was wow. Now, Chet ran into somebody that's obsessed with Native American history, has a lot of collections, so he's probably going to be talking to him for a good minute. Well, we will go on more of an excursion, making our way towards the forts. Here, run into some more people. Oh, the good old Ohio right over here. More reenactors over here. Heading our way over to the Ohio. Pause if you want to read, but they passed this way, home to thousands of men, women, and children to the Cherokee nations, once spread across the part of today's Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama. The 1830 Indian Removal Act required the Cherokee and the southeastern tribes to surrender their land. And here's the maps, like all these places. So here, like me and Chet live right here and over here. The excursion of Native American trailers on their way to Oklahoma. All on this river basin of the Ohio River. There's the bridge right over there, entering Illinois. You guys gotta look at the map. Here's the tip of Illinois right here. And then there is Kentucky right across over here. So cool to see a big body of water from the north. Kind of a similar feeling when I was at Lake Michigan 2 years ago. But so good to see the Ohio. Look at that. I'm gonna make our way over here to more of the fort areas. And more shots of the river. Got a big statue. The memory of George Rogers Clark, his faithful companions in the arms who, by their enterprise, courage, devotion, and sagacity, won Illinois country for the Commonwealth of Virginia and so for the American Union. And this monument has been erected in the name of a grateful people by the Illinois chapters of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Restored in 2008, but erected in 1907. George Rogers Clark, my friend. There was more stuff that was probably built here. And I was talking to someone who loves history and telling me that, you know, a lot of untreated wood over the years kind of affected some of these forts. So you can't go in the buildings anymore. But man, this is awesome. I'm so glad we ran into this. And running into a reenactment people club. Little tugboats alongside of the Ohio. And that, my friends, is going to do it for today. For a little time at Fort Massac, Fort Massac, whatever you want to call this place. This is really cool. Chet and I enjoy history like this, but of course you can go on his channel. He might have some more in-depth history about this. But in history itself, you might really enjoy Chet's more versus my history stuff. But of course I kind of give you the nitty-gritty on things. But this was such an amazing find as we are checking out Superman Town of Metropolis, Illinois. This was just pure amazing history of like Spanish, French, British, American Revolution stuff in exploration times, and then the Trail of Tears stuff. Just kind of things to look back on our history, and just kind of we could just look back at our history and just kind of see how much we have progressed. And this is just like, you know, don't forget your history of how important this stuff is for our times that we are living in, and just kind of we can look back in how we progressed as a nation. So. Just look back at our history, and it's just amazing. It's amazingness of what we have learned and how we have grown. And of course, the beautiful Ohio River, So great to see a body of water, like a familiarity of my people, because I'm from Illinois. And if you go 6 more hours north, we get back to my town of Wheaton, Illinois, which we got no time for that. Next, onward to Nashville, Tennessee. I'll see you guys in the next one. Eat well, keep your mind walking. Be sure you're subscribed, ring that notification bell. You guys know what to do. I'll see you guys later. The good views of the Ohio. Love it.